What's all the buzz around pollinators? Well, come join Charleston Park's Conservancy beekeepers as they inspect a honeybee hive and learn all about the magic of bees. Here to share more is Sam Hobb, horticulturist, and Becca Hudson, beekeeper and horticulturist with the Conservancy. Ladies, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing this observation beehive. I am just fascinated and mesmerized by watching the bees at work. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what they're doing right now, what we can see through the glass?
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll see most of the bees in here are going to be worker bees, and every worker bee has a different role, be it a nurse bee, a cleaner bee, a mortuary bee. So in here today, they're likely taking care of the young. They're also cleaning up. They're very clean, so they're cleaning up and tidying constantly. And you'll also see them feeding any young as well in there too.
Interesting. And bees are just so incredibly important to just as pollinators for our food source. So can you tell us a bit more, Sam, about why bees are so crucial to our survival?
Yeah, definitely. They're most definitely a critical link in our food systems and in ecosystems in general. 1 in every 3 bites of food that we consume was pollinated by a bee.
Wow.
And so without our bees and our other pollinators, there really is no food. Economically, they have a huge benefit as well. In the United States alone, domestic honeybees are responsible for pollinating $10 billion worth of crops annually, and as well as they're also just critical to the ecosystems that they exist in.
And as you're rattling off the nurse bees, the mortuary bees, because sometimes you'll see what appears to be kind of a pale bee that has lived its life, and a bee is carrying it away. It is such a social insect, so each one does have a duty. And at this point in time, here in the South, for instance, seasonally speaking, what are they doing, and at what point will we start to see them producing honey?
So right now, since it is cold, like today, we've kind of switched back to more colder temperatures. They'll probably stay more in their hive, but as it warms up, they'll be pollinating a lot of redbud trees, a lot of clover and dandelion are great foraging sources for them. And they'll start building up their spring stores, the queen will be laying more eggs, and then come usually June or July, you'll have your biggest honey flow coming through.
Okay, and I understand that you did not bring the queen with you. And
not today.
Why is that?
So she is a great educational tool when you have her in the hive, but we wanted to leave her back at our home hive because we only pulled 5 frames for this box today, just to keep the bees at home a little bit more calm.
Right, which is interesting. I mean, they sense when she is around and when she is not.
Yes.
And the frames that you have in here, about how many frames are in this box?
We have 4 beneath and then 1 up here now, so 5 total.
And how many bees is that in total?
So each frame usually has around 5,000 bees.
Wow.
It could be a little bit less since they're lower population, but altogether probably around 15 to 20,000 just in this little box.
Just in this little box. But bees, we have heard time and time again that we're in a period where they're threatened, that they could even go extinct at some point. So what can we do, Sam, as stewards for the bees to make sure that they continue to live on?
Yeah, there's a lot you can do, and that's something we'll be educating folks about on the event that we're having on the 18th. But just as anyone with a yard, something that you can do this time of year that's particularly helpful is leaving portions of your lawn unmown. This allows weed crops like clover and vetch that are important forage and nesting sites for the pollinators. It allows them to utilize those early blooms. And
you say be careful about using pesticides, insecticides. What about for people who need to do pest control around their house, spraying for spiders and things like that? Is that also a threat to the bees?
Ideally, you would avoid using any insecticides or pesticides. There are organic alternatives you can use.
Yes.
And so definitely doing more research before you spray if there are bees or other pollinators in your yard.
Of course. And you mentioned that you have an event coming up on April 18th, so not March 18th, but April 18th. And this is the Honeybee Hive Inspection. It's on a Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. And you say it's a great tool, not just for adults, but for children as well, to learn more all about the honeybee. Ladies, I want to thank you so much for joining us and for bringing these bees.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
We're back after this.